Hey, what's up, guys? I appreciate you stopping by. If you're new here, my name is Sarah Markley, and I am a new content creator working on growing my channel. My current goal is to reach 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have a long way to go, but I'll be working hard every day grinding to reach that goal. I would really appreciate your support by subscribing to my channel, and if you enjoyed the video, giving it a like. If you're feeling super generous, if you could consider doing the same for my other platforms like Twitch and TikTok. I will leave a link in the description below for you to check out. Thank you again, and stay blessed. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a reaction video to a video that came across my feed a few days ago. It is tanks, the worst players in Warcraft. Some of you have tuned in my stream. You know that I am a Blood DK main, which is a tank. I have completed, AOTC, heroic difficulty raid, pushed 10 plus keys. So I have quite a bit of experience as a tank. And I'm definitely curious to hear this guy's thoughts on why we are the worst players in Warcraft. So without further ado, we'll get into it.
Oh man, this is gonna be a doozy. I can feel the hate comments coming already. Alright, so you read the title. Now, before you leave your hate comment, if you don't agree with me already.
Alright, so just want to say this. I'm going to call this right now. It looks like he's in time walking dungeons. I've personally, multiple times in my tank, been voted to be kicked from time walking dungeons. Because I'll pull like the whole room and people get upset about that and things like that. Those are probably not as experienced content players. But the fact that we're starting out in time walking already makes me question how good this person is. But we'll see. We'll see.
Then just hear me out. I'm going to bring up two main points that inspired me to make this video. I am so tired of dying in dungeons. Time walking is the worst. This is because people hop.
There you did. Time walking is the worst. So this is like a time walking mage. Okay. Or main.
On their level 10 Fury Warriors and go tank dungeons. And then they gotta go and overpull everything because they think, oh, I can just take out anything. This has happened several times this past week. And sometimes it's not that simple. Sometimes you don't hold aggro, and sometimes the group dies. And sometimes the healer dies. And that's not a good thing.
So one thing about that, he says they don't hold aggro. Well, if you don't understand that the tank is pulling the whole room and you're doing damage while they're running and pulling everything, you're going to pull aggro from those couple mobs that you're trying to burst. So if you're not respecting the fact that they're doing a big pull and you try to open up, even on a big tank, you're gonna rip aggro from them. So I don't know if maybe he doesn't know that. We'll find. I don't know if we'll find that out actually, but anyway, continuing.
It's not. I don't know if you know that, but it's not a good thing. The excuse is, oh, but we've been doing these dungeons for years now. We just need to level as fast as possible. Well, you know what? I gotta tell you.
You're doing time walking. That is literally the point, to level as fast as possible. I mean, if you're maining time walking, I have a friend who does it. He has 23 characters, loves time walking, but if that is what you're doing, like, efficiency is a part of this. So, like, okay.
Say something. There's new people who join this game every day for the first time, and that run may be their first time in their dungeon, and they may not know what to do, what's going on, especially if they're playing a healer class. And your obsessive need to just run and pull everything and complete it as fast as possible because I gotta level up as fast as possible is turning players away. It gives a very bad rap for new players who are just getting into the game. So, just as my friend Michael Jordan would say.
That's a fair point. But I guess in my opinion, like, that's where you just talk. Like, just, hey, what's going on? Hey, how do we do this? Like, if they're actually new, realistically, most of the new people I see, they have a buddy. So they have someone in Discord that they can talk to, be like, hey, what's going on? Why am I not healing enough? What's happening here? That's a somewhat fair point, but even then, I would say that's part of the learning curve. Like, I think we've all played WoW at some point before Time Walking came out. Not all of us have, but like when you're questing, you're gonna die sometimes, and that's part of learning how to play the game. So
stop it. Get some help.
And you know what? People are also dying in the holiday dungeons. The holiday dungeons.
Holiday dungeons.
Bro, one boss. But you know what? People are dying. You know why? Because you're not doing your job. Some people queue as tanks and they're in DPS spec expecting, oh, I'm just going to wipe them out because it's only one boss. And then the group wipes. Ever since the level squash in Shadowlands, they've made it much easier to level, much faster. And I don't think that's a fault of the player base, it's a fault on Blizzard. Because either they haven't yet figured out how to scale the damage as per level, as you level up, or they refuse to. And this is what causes this issue. If you're a veteran player, I'd say 10 years plus, which is myself, I'm currently at 13, then I understand the need to just
13 years as a time walking mage. Just saying, or main. I keep saying mage. Time walking main. I'm gonna need see some credentials, sir.
level up a character for whatever reason, get him to max level as fast as possible, but you need to slow down. You need to stop queuing in the tank and healing role and not doing that job. You are part of the problem. And then what happens when you wipe? The healer gets blamed, if not it's the DPS, but who cares? DPS are expendable.
I will say this. That's a little bit different than saying tanks are the worst player, because what he's saying is a DPS main is queuing as a tank, but then being DPS. So, like, respectfully, leave our names out of it, at least in this case.
And that is exactly why there's a shortage of healers and tanks. It's exactly why everyone wants to play DPS class and no one wants to tank. Because when mistakes happen, instead of, hey guys, this is what happened, this is where it went wrong, let's do better, instead of doing that, you blame the person and then you kick them out. When it could have...
What? I mean, I agree, but... What? Hold on.
Everyone wants to play DPS class. And that is exactly why there's a shortage of healers and tanks.
Hold on, why is there a shortage?
Why? The healer gets blamed, if not it's the DPS, but who cares? DPS are expendable. And that is exactly why there's a shortage of healers and tanks. It's exactly why everyone wants to play DPS class and no one wants to tank. Because when mistakes happen, instead of, hey guys, this is what happened, this is where it went wrong, let's do better, instead of doing that, you blame the person and then you kick them out.
I don't follow that logic. I agree that that's like, you should just talk about it if you don't understand, but because people are queuing as tanks when they're DPS and they're getting flamed and kicked instead of talking about it, that's why no one wants to be a tank? That doesn't make sense.
When it could have entirely been not their fault. No, maybe, just maybe you overpulled a mob and the healer got stunned and just couldn't heal and you died and now you kicked him out because you are a sucky tank.
And then he flips it back on the tank. What?
Now that person has a bad experience as a healer and just starts rolling DPS all the time. Never touching healer again because of that bad experience. Because you couldn't tank properly.
Okay, this is somewhat accurate. Somewhat. But we do pull-ups instead, boys, okay? We don't fucking cry and whine like this, all right? You get yourself a pull-up bar, do some push-ups. You do something. We get gains with our pains.
And I don't understand the need to rush time walking. I really don't. Max level.
Because you want to get max level. That's why you rush it, okay? Like, these are not dungeons that you want to spend a half hour to 45 minutes in. Like, this is not... What? Oh my god. Why don't we just take our time? Brother, go quest.
Levels, 80s, are the worst at this. They just want to get it done and over with. Why?
Because they're doing it for a quest. Because they have to. Why would they want to be in this dungeon? It doesn't give them anything. The only thing they get is a 610 piece of loot at it. But like the loot inside, you don't get anything from it. You don't get rating from it. It don't look cool or better because of it. Like, you don't get any skill from this. Like, brother, please.
Why? So you can earn up your 3 options in the vault and then get mad on Tuesday?
No, it's for the 610 piece of gear from the quest. Real level 80s are not doing time walking to fill their vault. They're doing time walking to get the 610 piece. They're going to be doing harder content than time walking. That's why they're trying to breeze through it, because time walking is not supposed to be this drool fest for 45 minutes.
When everything...
So far, this player seems very inexperienced, very new. If you ever watch this video, you're totally welcome to join one of my normal raids. If you need help getting AOTC, I got you.
...is below what you have, or you didn't get that trinket you need. So now you're going to go on the Reddit forums and yell and scream at Blizzard for this. Meanwhile, you ruined everyone else's time in those 5 dungeons you needed for time walking. Congratulations. I hope you're happy.
He just said it. 5 time walking. So he does know it's for the quest, but he thinks it's for the vault. Do your research, pal. Oh, we're on the second point now. Second point. WoW is no longer fun. What? Really? I feel like if all you're doing is running time walking, that's why it's not fun, bro. Like, to me, the fun is like pushing harder content, having goals, reaching those goals, making new goals. And like, yeah, if you get max level on a character and you hit all your goals, like, cool to switch to an alt and try to do it again on something you're not as familiar with. But I mean, a lot of people don't feel like WoW is fun anymore, but I hear this mostly from super old players like him, 13 years. People have been playing for 20 years that like kind of grew up with Classic, where it's like much closer to like a tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, where like your character is literally auto attacking instead of spamming buttons. But I don't know, in my opinion, it's a different game. It's a young man's game.
The point of a video game, any video game, is to get away from society.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's just to have fun. Sometimes it's to play the game that you enjoy. Get away from society, bro. Go outside, touch grass. He says do not pause to read. I think he's going to read it. I was about to not listen, though.
Read this together. My friend and I were doing time walking. Loaded into Blood Maw slag mines. The tank instantly pulled everything to the just before the first boss. So basically, he pulled all the ads up to the first boss, from the beginning of the dungeon to the first boss. The tank had no problem surviving, but it made for a frustrating couple of minutes as everyone was silenced and feared repeatedly from the stacked mobs. We killed the boss, no problem. That's good. The boss is down. You got your loot. Move on to the next boss, right? No. Within 30 seconds of this boss dying, a kick vote was started for my friend as AFK. They had been taking that 30 seconds to start looking for new...
Oh my god, it's taking a long time to read this. Man, he took a long time to read that. I'm already done reading this, but I don't know, maybe they changed the voting since like this post was made or something like that, but literally one person is the difference of somebody getting kicked or not. Like, I've been kicked because my friend thought it was funny and he was the last vote and he said yes, and so all 4 people kicked me out of the dungeon pretty much for this, right? Like, because I pulled everything and they didn't understand what was going on. They were trying to do like one group at a time instead of like pulling a whole bunch of them. And it happened again recently where I pulled a whole bunch and people were like, oh, this tank isn't holding aggro. And it's like, well, yeah, you're trying to burst the first thing that I pulled, and then it turned on you. But then my other friend was the one who said no, and so I didn't get kicked. I could be wrong. I guess I don't know exactly how many it takes to kick, but I think one person can save it. So maybe they changed that, or maybe this guy hit yes and kicked his own friend.
Piece of gear they got. They're still relatively new, and it was a big upgrade for them. Before I even had time to process the vote as happening, it passed and my friend was removed. I told them the person was still playing and asked why they were removed. Why wouldn't they remove someone who was still actively playing, and got no response. If you do this, you're part of the problem.
Yes and no. I mean, I think this guy just seems to think that time walking dungeons are meant to be 45 minutes long. But I mean, if you're AFK and people don't know you're AFK and they pulled the whole first room, like, I get that he's new, but at the same time, I feel like what a lot of, as a somewhat newer WoW player, like, 5 years or less, the thing that I notice about these older WoW players is they have this like role-playing mentality where they like their idea of how the game plays is the only way to play. And like, realistically, if somebody sees that you're AFK, why wouldn't they swap you out for somebody who's going to actually press buttons? Now, I get new players might be reading that, but I also kind of think it's like time and place. Like, you just hit accept to join a dungeon, meaning that you're ready to play a dungeon. But then you take a few minutes and you're not playing the dungeon. That new piece of gear that you were going to equip really probably wasn't going to do that much for the dungeon anyway. Like, you could probably get out of the dungeon, equip it, read through it, do that on your own time instead of doing it in the dungeon. Do I feel bad because it's a new player? A little bit, but at the same time, like, if this were my friend, I would just be like, hey, dude, like, read your talents outside of the dungeon. Read what they do outside of the dungeon. Let's just power through this. Because again, you're not supposed to be in time walking for 45 minutes.
And I hope that your pillow is warm on both sides tonight. This is what I mean when I say people kill the
What if I like a warm pillow, bro? You wish it was cold?
fun in the game. There's a chance that that person may have very well quit that game, didn't want anything to do with it because of that group. Patience. Look into it. It's good for you. And I know the argument, oh, you want hard...
Excuse me. We'll edit that out.
dungeons, just go play Classic. No. I shouldn't have to download a completely separate game or version of the game, if you will, okay, start over just to have fun.
I agree and disagree. To me, it sounds like the experience that this person is looking for matches classic WoW more than it does retail. So I'm not thinking, oh, you should go play classic, get the heck out of my game. But all of your concerns, pretty much all of them, are answered by just going to a different game that sounds like it would be more fun and enjoyable for you because you're looking for a slower style with dungeons where they last an hour and a half long, where it's a little bit more slow and people are reading things and picking up quests and helping each other out. But in retail, like, the game isn't about leveling anymore. Like, you basically get to max level as quick as possible. Then you read your talents, get all that stuff figured out, and then you try to just maximize your character's output. It is not meant to take 3 months to get from level 1 to 80 by taking 45 minutes per dungeon. So, I don't think anybody should go play a different game because I don't want them in mine or something like that. But I do think realistically, like, sounds like you probably would enjoy it.
Back in the game. That's a stupid argument. That's what that is. And that's what makes...
It's not a stupid argument. I think you would actually have more fun. and you're trying to get fun. So, hey, that's just my advice.
Makes this game unfun. The people, the community, the player base. So all I can say is do whatever makes the game fun for you. And until then, I'll see you next time.
I didn't know about that remote part. But hey, let's show them how it's done. This is real tank rage, okay? You ready for this? When I get people like that in my group who are just sandbagging, dragging it down, I get out of that dungeon and I queue up instantly for another one because I'm a tank. I don't gotta wait. And I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000, 6,000, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Recap. The guy's a silly goose. And definitely would enjoy playing Classic. I almost guarantee it. Like, if he made a video about him playing Classic, I bet he'd be like, oh man, this is way better than retail. But no, I just think genuinely he's an older player who doesn't do harder content. That whole video was about time walking. So, like, there was nothing about Mythic Plus, raiding, or anything like that. It was just time walking. So, sorry, I'm a little out of breath after those pull-ups. Oh, here's another one. Worse players than tanks. Oh my gosh. He's just a content machine. But I would just say, hard disagree. Guy kind of sounds like a noob. But if you ever watch this video and you want help, doing harder content, learning how to play the game a little bit more, got you, bro. Anyway, we'll end it there. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed. Peace.